This is David with High Performance Stoicism, and I want to talk to you about the Stoic way of handling a rough spot in your relationship. What I mean by rough spot is when things aren't going well, you're hardly talking to each other. You could even say you're getting the silent treatment. And for the relationship that's involved, it can be anybody. It could be your wife, your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, parent or child or friend. But there are times when you're with this person or around them. What do you do? That's what we're going to cover. What I'm not going to cover is what to say, because sometimes the easiest way to deal with such a situation is to review it, find out what you might have done wrong, and say, look, I want to talk about this. But you think you're at a point where it's gone beyond that. What do you do? I'm going to give you some Stoic precepts to make the situation better, both for yourself and for the other person. And it is going to be a bit subtle. And one thing that should go in the background of this is something I've covered a lot in terms of how you should see every person. And I call these the 4 things you need to know about other people. That's going to be in play here. And those 4 things briefly are: every person you deal with is your brother or sister, right? We were born to work with one another, as Marcus says. The second thing to note is that everybody acts and responds based on what they think is in their own interest. In other words, at this point, since they're shutting you out, they think it's in their own interest at this point. The third one is that everybody you're dealing with, and this includes you, is a fool. You could put it to one extent or another. So, of course, maybe they got some things wrong in the dispute you had with the person. And lastly, everybody responds based on how things appear to them, not on how they appear to you. Because since you're having a big disagreement with somebody, you're seeing the situation quite differently. They're not just stubborn, their world at this time has you pictured as the bad guy. But what kind of precepts can help you deal with this person to warm things up a bit, to put some warmth into this cooling period, and then maybe break the silent treatment that you're getting? And so I'm not even going. So, first of all, I said I'm not going to give you things to say. Here's the things to do. I am not even going to give you necessarily the way to act, but the way to see things. And so this is where the Stoic precepts come in. And the central vision I want you to have as you're going into this is to think about what I say is what Stoicism is all about. The major goal of Stoicism, it's the study and practice of wholehearted action. And only a person who is virtuous, that is, prudent, courageous, temperate, and just, is fully wholehearted in their actions. There's no inner division within them. But I want you to hold this vision as you're thinking of these different precepts. So this does involve interacting with the other person. And there's a key part of this that is important for all your relationships, and it's this: the default way of dealing with other people, whether you're on good terms or bad terms with them, is we deal with that person based on our information of our last interaction or interactions and how we see the state of the relationship. I think that's a mistake because you're assuming what's on their mind. Instead, you should, each time you encounter the person you want to deal with, see them in terms of where you want your relationship to go. So if you want your relationship to be harmonious and friendly, come at them from that angle rather than relying on your beliefs based on what has happened in the past, because in this situation, the past isn't giving you any good signals. You're getting the silent treatment, more or less. You're barely on speaking terms. So the vision you want is wholehearted action. And what does that mean? That means this is the way I want to live my life. And as I encounter this person, I'm thinking of wholehearted action because I am not divided. So I am at one with myself. And one reason that's important is because if I just say, be friendly to this person, if you're having a lot of resentment, then you are friendly, but the person can feel that you're divided. They can pick up on that. But if you go into the situation with good intentions and you have wholehearted action in mind and you're thinking of that, then you are not going to be divided. So if you are friendly, it's going to be from a roughly undivided self. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Now, the first precept to think of as you go to talk to this person, or you feel, okay, you're going to run into them in the kitchen, in the living room, it doesn't matter. Have the thought, hold on to what is highest. This is an important Stoic precept, and you can find it in Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. In this situation, when you say, I am holding on to what is highest, first of all, you let go of what is lower. You let go of the past. You're holding on to what is highest, and these include things as, I'm holding on to the excellent state of my soul. That is, I want to be virtuous. I'm holding on to harmony. Harmony is an important value for me, and kindness, that's important too. So no matter what happens in this encounter with this person, I am holding on to what is highest. And you can repeat it a couple times before you move to the next point, which is also an important Stoic precept. Despise what's unimportant. That is, look down on what's unimportant. And what's unimportant in the situation? How they respond to you immediately. Because in the vast scheme of things, it's not that important. What's also unimportant? Whatever fight you had before, that's unimportant. That's gone. You don't want to hold on to it. And so those are two things. And also, what's unimportant? Ultimately, what the other person thinks of what they're doing, because they might be suspicious at first if you are friendly. And we're not talking, when we say friendly, just normal friendly, not being exaggerated. That's a giveaway and is going to make people suspicious. But if you're just friendly, hey, how's it going? Then that's what we're talking about. So two things, hold on to what is highest. That keeps you above anything that is unimportant or negative. Despise what's unimportant, what they think of what you're doing or what their first response is, that's unimportant. And then number 3, always act with effective ease. In other words, you want to be relaxed. This is part of what wholehearted action is about. And that is, you want to be effective, but you are doing it with ease. You are acting with poise, and whatever you say, certain things to connect with them in a basic way. Hey, what's going on? You're showing you're friendly, but you're relaxed about it. And all these 3 together feed into wholehearted action. That's part of what wholehearted action is about. And so just by taking this inner stance, having these perspectives in mind and blending them in your mind is going to make you come off in a much more reasonable way. It's going to show you are friendly. You're not holding anything back. And a key part of this is your focus is on what you do. That's wholehearted action. And one part of that is you're not really concerned about the immediate outcome. That's also something that you are despising. You're looking down on what the immediate outcome of this talk is, because what's going to happen is it may take 1 time two times where you're just regular friendly. You're not asking for anything from them. You're just revealing to them where you are in this thing. And you're also showing it's not a big deal. You're not looking for an exchange. You don't want them to act in a particular way. You're focused on just being a kind, friendly person. And that is going to help you with a rough patch in your relationship. So tell me what you think below in the comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.